I've made my career about saying yes to things. People are like, can you do this? Yes. Yes, I can. Want to try this? Yes, I do want to try that. So I'm very lucky now I can be more selective, and I have definitely said no to things like Married at First Sight and Love Island and all those things. So there's definitely things I've been able to like learn over time what a priority is for me, but saying yes to opportunities. I would say to everyone, say yes more.
Co-owner of Milestone Strength, Gymshark athlete, Grenade athlete, freak athlete, and all-round legend, Nathan McCallum.
You started with a good half a Milestone. You started with Layne, and then I'm the leftovers, which is great. Glad to bring up the rear.
Thanks for coming on, mate. You touched on him just there. We had Layne on last week. He dived a little bit into his last sort of 6 to 12 months with Milestone and himself, of course. But, man, give us a little wrap-up of how things have been.
Everything is good. Life is great. Milestone has just like gone from strength to strength, which is really cool. Me and Layne have had some amazing opportunities come about like the last 12, 16, 18 months, which is pretty crazy considering like we've been doing the business for 5 years, and then all of a sudden in like a 12-month span, so much has happened, and there is still so much about to happen as well. I don't know if Layne touched on any of that. Maybe I can't yet. But we got some like huge things about to happen, and like, yeah, it's all snowballing, which is really cool. It's like, not from like lack of trying over the years. We've always had fun with it, but I think it's once you put a little bit of focus into something, we're having some fun. So it's cool. That's
awesome, man. And what about for yourself? I know you've teamed up with some pretty big brands over the last sort of 12 to 18 months. How's that been looking for you?
Yeah, I've been doing like the social media thing for 7-8 years now. So I've definitely made the mistakes of doing the shitty one-off posts and done that. So it's cool now to have like 3 brands behind me that I truly believe in. They believe in me, and it's like long-term partnerships where we're both benefiting. So I don't have to be throwing brands down people's faces. It's just like a seamless conversation, which is pretty cool. So, and they're supporting Milestone as well, which is sick, because that's been like the thing for probably the last year for me, is trying to get Milestone as part of things, because it's just, I didn't want to be the Nathan show. It's Milestone. So having brought that on as a brand is really cool.
I think it's really pleasing to hear, because a lot of people can get caught up in the social media world. Like even watching on, I can see there's people around, you get confused, like, wait, who are you actually sponsored by? Like, who are you actually dealing with? One week it's this person, the next week it's this person. So it's good to see people having a relationship and, like you said, believing in what they offer, and they believe in you, and I think creates a really good relationship.
So can you dive into who your main partners are and who you've teamed up with?
Yeah. So the 3 that I work with now are Gymshark, as you said, Grenade, and JBL. So like activewear, supplements, and audio. They're like the 3 big things that my life's based around. Music, the JBL thing was such a blessing in disguise that came out of nowhere from like genuinely like building a relationship with the people. I'd done one-off stuff here and there, and I approached them. I actually pitched the idea of a partnership. They didn't do it at the time, but I was like, it just makes so much sense. Like, I talk about music every day. It's such a big thing to me. Even though I'm a fitness guy, like my life's so much more than that, and I wanted to have something, and they were just like, let's do it. What can we do to make this awesome? Which is like, they've been the best brand to work with, and they're supporting like some of our workshops we're doing. They did the one we hosted on Sydney in the weekend. They like turned up and they had speaker systems and giveaways. Everyone got headphones. We had like prizes of massive speakers. It was just like, they're facilitating us giving back to our audience, which is so cool, because not every brand's like that, and it's cool to have like a good face behind the brand. So, and I'm as passionate about it as they are, so it's cool. And Gymshark I've been with for a couple of years now, and then Grenade is officially, as of this year, my only supplement sponsor.
And where's Grenade based out of?
UK. So Gymshark and Grenade are based about 100 meters from each other in Birmingham, which makes it real easy to me when we do UK tours, because I can just like see both of them the same day. Grenade is, I was with Epic Brands within Australia, so I was with like a distributor of SciTech, Newzest, which is how I got to know the guys from My Muscle Project, a whole bunch of brands, and Grenade was one of them. And then I posted something, and the CEO of Grenade actually DM'd me. He's like, oh, I love this. Are you interested in like having a chat about working more with us? So I built up like a secondary contract with them and started doing some extra stuff, just creating content for them. And they really liked what I was about, what Milestone was doing. And they sponsored our UK tour for the last one we did, and so they like flew us over and put it up in gyms and all that sort of stuff, and they were so happy with how it went that we actually decided to go exclusive this year and I'm their only international ambassador, which is cool because again, they're like, the people is what it's all about. They got a really good culture. The product is delicious. It's like it's not a problem getting people to try the product because like people have it once and like, can I get more of that? So it's cool. And they're growing really fast. They're currently the number one chocolate bar in the UK. Like a protein bar is beating like Snickers and Kinder Bueno and Mars bar, like Cadbury. They're the number one thing, which is just wild.
Yeah. So we got in and I don't know how long ago. It would have been before Chrissy for sure, but we got a session in together and then went over to Nath for lunch and he was like, here, take some of these with you, like try them. The protein bars themselves, dude. I reckon I think he gave me like 8 maybe. I pumped probably 4 of them in the first like 3 hours of you giving them to me. I was like, this is bad.
I've like settled in and I've like, I don't go nuts, but it's so easy to go nuts.
What's the spread that they have as well?
Yeah, they do like spreads and like pre-made shakes. The pre-made shakes are the greatest thing in the world because like I'm lazy as, can I swear? Yeah. I'm lazy as fuck. So when it comes to like, even like making a protein shake, I'm so lazy. I finish a workout, they're just in my fridge, ready to go. Unscrew, drink. 30 grams of protein, done, and they're delicious. Like, that's why I'm good at my job, because I'm actually passionate about it. It's so easy to talk about the stuff, because I'm like, well, I'm using it, wearing it, like, listening with it. Like, it's every day, so that's what's kind of cool about the brands I've got now. I don't have to sell, because I'm just, like, talking about the stuff I like and use anyway.
Using it in an everyday life environment. You're not saying, hey, guys, buy this JBL speaker. It's like, this was my playlist. This was my playlist today. Using the JBL speaker, or you know, you mean like you're building a relationship up with your audience. Where I wanted to dive into Gymshark, probably a brand that people are more familiar with. What's that experience been like?
Awesome. I came on board just as Gymshark was really starting to come into Australia, like in a bigger way. They did a pop up here 2 years ago now for Steve Cook's like collaboration. That was in Melbourne, and that was like the first time Gymshark had really been on our shores and had touched the market in Australia. And it's been crazy in the last 18 months with them, seeing like particularly here at the gym how many people are now wearing Gymshark stuff. And like we did that workshop on the weekend, and like Layne pulled me aside, he's like, look how many people are wearing your outfits, like tucked in stringer, high socks, Converse, like, and I'm not saying I made that look up, but like it is very, very clear to see people like influenced by a brand and growing from like, there's only 6 of us in Australia. So it's cool to have like a small market and really know that you're actually impacting and influencing people in a cool way. And that brand is so supportive of us as well. Like it's very easy to wear the stuff. It's very easy to promote it because I'm training every day. They make cool shit. I like it. They support us. It's like, it really is very seamless. So
it seems like their culture is really incredible, looking from the outside, looking in. What's been, obviously, a lot of people know people who collaborate with Gymshark, whether it's, like you said, Steve Crook, and I don't know, some ladies' names, is there Whitney Simmons or something like that, some pretty big names. What's that been like for yourself, being able to collaborate with people at that level? And what has it done, just getting to meet people at that level on a worldwide scale?
From a social media standpoint?
From a social media standpoint, like, have you taken tools away from these guys, or have you seen like what they do, or has it pushed you to want to dish out more content because you've seen what they do that works? Like, how have you pulled apart what they've done?
I'm like, you touched on it really well. Their whole thing is about like the people they get on board. It's about a culture, so they don't want to sign anyone that's not a brand fit. If Fraser, one of the dudes in Melbourne, he's almost at 1 million now on Instagram. He's got a massive following. Gymshark sent me down to Melbourne last year to go and just hang out with him, have a session, go get lunch. And if I liked him, they'd sign him. It was just like, hey, go see if you like this dude. If you like him, we'll sign him. We love his content. He's doing everything. But if you don't think he fits, we won't sign him. Like, 1, that they trust their other athletes like me to do that. 2, that's the sticking point. Not just, oh yeah, he's growing astronomically fast. Because he was at like 600,000 last year. He's at almost 1 million now. So he's growing super fast. They're like, if he doesn't fit the team, he's not a nice dude, we don't want him. And there's guys out there that have huge followings, like Jeff Seed. He got like 3.6 million. He used to be Gymshark. They dropped him because he's a dick. But that's what I mean. Like, it is about the culture. So it's cool spending time with like-minded people and taking things away. Like Seabum, who's the current Mr. Olympia, couldn't be a nicer dude. Had such a good time with him in Sydney, like just hanging out. And it's not just like what you see on the internet. They're still like sends you messages and you still like tags you and stuff. And like we've all got like little private Instagram groups where we just like send each other funny memes and shit. And like it's cool having built relationships out of that make it more of a family.
Yeah. To diversity each other, it's almost like you're working as a team.
Yeah, 100%. And you're only going to grow more because of that. I think Australia can be real shitty and small-minded, and like tall poppy syndrome is a massive problem here. It's cool being on an international level with people that are just like willing to help each other and like see each other succeed. So I guess it's been eye-opening for that. I feel like I'm much more akin to a lot of the guys outside of Australia than the fitness space in Australia. I don't know one here because, like, I know Pap because he's from the coast and he's a nice dude. But the rest of the fitness world in Australia, I just don't know anyone because I'm like, well, like, you're all out for yourselves. You're not trying to, like, do cool shit. You're not trying to collaborate. You're not trying to give back. You're just trying to do it for you.
Yeah, and culture's massive. So when you're going out to these pop-ups and you've got meetups with these guys, what's that environment, I'm presuming, is so supportive, and what's your sort of role when you're at a pop-up and there's, you've got tons of people that are lining up to meet you? Like, how is that sort of environment for you and what do you take away from it?
I feed off that. I feed off energy. Like, it can be draining. Like, and if you're not a people person, like, I'm absolutely an extrovert. What you see is what you get. Like, I kind of come in at an energy level and I'm going to bed with that energy level and then finally falling asleep. Whereas some people, like, they turn it on, they're in front of the people and then they need to, like, have their downtime. So it's really interesting to me seeing the way people switch things on for other people, seeing what their internet persona is versus their real persona. For me personally, it's kind of like, I love that. It's so much fun. In Manchester in July last year, I was actually supposed to be on like a main stage one, and there was like 6 of us, me and Zach Perner and C-Bum and Elliot Burton and Bazinga. He's like a YouTube dude. He's got like millions of followers. He's a legend, really cool guy. He had like a huge transformation, lost 30 kilos last year, and Gymshark. So he's a great guy. But there was like all these big dudes, and there was like a secondary smaller stage that had like some of the smaller influences on them and like people that weren't probably as bigger personalities. And I'd been running some workshops in the center, like arena. When I got over there, I was like, oh, I went and grabbed like my manager type person. I was like, hey, can I go over to that one? Like those guys probably like, there's a line of 2-hour wait for these guys here. I'm sure I can go talk to people over there and just have as much fun. It's not going to like, I'm not going to lose out from it. And went across there and had the best afternoon. One of the dudes I was there with, Sean Stafford, never met him before. And we're now like the tightest of bros. He's such a cool dude because I just went in and was like, well, let's go talk to people over there. And that went from having no line to having people lining up for an hour because we were fucking around and wasting time. Like we started taking out selfies and we were like jumping in and like doing dance offs and like, but so many people messaged me like, I'd never even heard of you before. And now like, I love your content. That's so good. Because I was like feeding off their energy and just like giving something back.
Well, that's it. Like the other athletes that would have been there, they would have been stoked that you were there because again, you put out a lot of energy, and you can feel when someone's giving off good energy, right? And they're gonna bounce off that, and they're gonna use that as well, and that's just gonna create a better experience for the people coming through to see you. Right?
Steve Cook is like the golden boy, but there's a reason because like the energy he gives off. That's why he and I click so well, and we're happy to spend time together because like we are very similar in that we both just like up for it, have a good time, give people a great experience. You walk away from him, whether you're like a huge fanboy or you're in the industry, and you're like, yeah, you know what? There's a reason he's the big guy that he is. He's been doing it a long time and he knows what to do. He's charming, he's handsome, and he makes you feel like you're important. That's something I took away from it too. Everyone I meet, I want to make sure that they don't walk away being like, who the fuck was that guy?
And like, as you talked about being draining, you have to be in the moment, I feel like, to have that impact as well, and to be able to be meeting so many people. It's a credit to you guys to be able to make sure that you leave that impact, because if I'm talking to Bridgie and I'm staring off or I'm not talking to him or making eye contact, they're not going to feel it. But once you make it that personal touch, I'm sure you have a massive impact, which is where I wanted to dive into. Have you had messages? Have you had people reach out to you from those events? What are some of the amazing DMs that you get that you've helped people through X, Y, or Z?
Yes, DMs, I've been really lucky because I've got a huge gay following. Don't know where it came from. Like I've had it since I grew. Since I first started, I've always had a fairly big gay following. I've had people come out being like come out to me for the first time because they don't feel like they can talk to anyone about it, asking advice. I've had people come to me that are suicidal and they don't know where to turn and they just want to speak to someone about it because they've like followed me for a while and they feel like they know me. We've had people come to like workshops that have like fought off cancer and recovering, and like through finding social media and also like inspired to like become better versions of themselves. There's so many moments that like little pinch yourself times, you just don't realize the impact you're having on someone. There's a guy literally in the last tour I was in the States who came to the very first pop-up I did ever in New York 4.5 years ago now. I did one in Central Park. The first one I'd ever done one. Pop-ups or meet and greets weren't really a thing. Me and my friend Marcel were like, we'll just like put a thing up on our story. If people want to come, you can come. And like 60 people turned up to this park. And I was late because I caught the wrong train because I didn't know where I was in New York. And so like Marcel was just like hanging out in New York talking to these people while I was trying to find my way there. Anyway, this guy came to it. Really nice guy. I remembered him. We got photos. All good. 2.5 years later, he messaged me and was like, hey man, I don't know if you remember me. I came to this. Just want to say I've had a really tough time lately, but your stuff's always inspired me. And just knowing like some of the things you said to me when we met, just like I really hold on to that. And it's changed me so much. And I sent him a message back. It's like, oh dude, like thanks for the support. I really appreciate that. Like, are you doing okay? What's going on? And he's like, and I can't remember what the actual syndrome is he got. But one day he lost all control of his body, like all sense of touch, feel, everything. He just like had a cold, went to hospital, woke up, couldn't move, completely paralyzed, and is now over the past like year and a half had to learn how to talk, walk. He can't walk properly yet. He's still in a wheelchair, but like he's seen physiotherapy, he's doing this stuff, and he's like, every day you say good morning party people, and it wakes me up and I'm like, I feel like I can do it. I'm like, that's a dumb thing I started saying just because I'm an idiot one day. But someone can take that energy I'm giving out and use that to go and learn how to fucking walk. And he's like, oh, if I get the chance to meet you again, that'd be so good. So last time I was in LA, I actually went to downtown LA one day and met up with him and his mum drove me in and wheeled him across, and we sat at a cafe, and like he was just kind of talking about his recovery and stuff. And like my heart was just breaking for this dude who had like, he was a sound engineer. No. Production design on sets and stuff. He was designing sets for movies and stuff. He's like, I really want to get back there one day, but I can't hold a pencil yet. So like, I can't just start designing and stuff. But hearing how hard he was working to become a better version of himself, and like, that's wild. Yeah. Instagram, a thing that we like take selfies, that you can help people like that across the world without realizing it. It's nuts.
Is that why you do it? Is that the stuff that sits the most? Obviously, because you want to promote a better version of yourself, but is that what keeps driving you forward to get better and better and better?
Yeah, people like that is what inspire me. People are like, you get lovely messages being like, oh, you inspire me and stuff, but people don't realize the impact that they have on you. The internet can be a real cruel place. Real life can be a cruel place, but like having people like that you know you've affected in a really positive way, whether you share that or not, that's so amazing and so incredible. And that's what Milestone's kind of given Layne and I, is the realization that, yeah, like it's great to make money and have online clients and like kind of work for yourself. But there's also people that are like, I beat cancer and I'm in the best shape of my life because of you guys. I was suicidal and then I found you guys and now I'm the fittest I ever have. And I'm just like so driven to be a better person. People who like I want to change their lives because they want to get married and they're just changing their bodies, or people that are struggling for a job and their fitness is their way, they have that outlet. That's sick. That's the side of social media you don't see that often, but it's really kind of important to know that you're striving towards something bigger. So
social media, it can get such a bad rap, but it's a platform that we can utilize, and you utilize it so well. Again, to reach people like that and affect them in such a positive way, man, it's so good. And to hear stuff like that, it's fucking awesome. Also great platform for training. Let's talk about your training, man. I know there's a lot of guys in here that'll be listening in, and they follow your training, and obviously you have a killer physique and freak athlete, like I said at the start. Do you want to talk about your training a little bit and sort of when you first started at the gym and sort of the path that you've taken with that?
I joined a gym almost 7 years ago. So the first gym I ever joined was at Forries, to the Forries gym, and went there for like a couple of weeks. And then friend mum was like, oh, I'm going to join Impact. It was the church thing, and then it was so small at the time. So I came across with him and checked it out. I was like, oh, I could like, what sold me is the fact they had like monkey bars, which they don't have anymore. It was the rig had monkey bars on it. Yeah, it was a full soccer field with like nets up around the side. It was like a quarter of the size it is now. They used to have the jiu-jitsu in there. Joined there, and just like maybe 2 or 3 months after I joined, I came in by myself one day for a session and ran into Layne. And Layne and I like grew up together. My mum babysat Layne when he was 3. Like we went to preschool together, and I hadn't seen him for a few years when he was traveling. We just like kind of caught up, and I think we might have trained together like a week later. And then I convinced a few my other friends to join the gym. So like Lee, who you know all the time, he kind of became my gym buddy and we started training together. And I'd already had a bit of a following on social media. And so like occasionally when I was like trying to do a handstand, I'd put a video up just to like share shit because that's what I was doing. It wasn't a job. I was just sharing stuff. And people like ask about it. So I was like, oh, look, this is my PT. It's Layne. Like he trains me how to do this. Layne's never done a fucking handstand in his life. But I'd be like, yeah, he taught me like how to do this stuff. And Milestone as a business, because that was his PT business, started growing a little bit. And like, this is in the day when you could like, I could say, go follow this. And I'd watch their following just grow instantly. And so over the period of 6 months, it went from being like 1,000 to 7,000 followers and then 10,000 followers and then 15,000 followers. So I started posting a little bit more fitness stuff, just like here, there and everywhere because I enjoyed it. I was still doing fashion as my main time job. And then when I quit General Pants to go and be a full-time like blogger, I was going to be a fashion blogger full-time. Layne's like, do you want to do Milestone together? Like, it makes so much sense. It was already growing. He wasn't really doing much online coaching, but he was like, we could maybe start doing that. So that's when we made his training, which was like the first training programs, and did that and just like had instant success. Instantly people were like interested in buying him and getting programs and training the way I was. I wasn't a PT. I'm still not a PT. Like, I've never gone and done the PT qualifications. But it was just like, well, Layne does that. He writes the programs and I'll just be the face of it for now. And it grew really fast. I've probably changed my training dramatically in the past 3 years and like really taken it seriously.
That's what I was going to ask is, has it always been very structured? It sounds like at the start you were like, I'm keen to just get in the gym, get moving and just play around with some
things. When we first started, I'd never done a program before. When we started selling my program, I didn't have a program. I was just training the way I wanted to train. I have a background in like athleticism. I was in the like Australian Taekwondo team when I was in high school. I used to play football at a high level. I was on every team in high school because I always liked being active. But training in a gym was a very different thing. Probably 3 years ago is when I really started going, you know what, like I've got potential here. I eat whatever the fuck I want. Maybe if I like started eating better, I'd be in better shape. And so started doing that.
Did you notice big gains when you sort of kicked into gear and became really structured with that?
Yeah. Yeah. And the biggest, like, I had the big thing of like social media. We talk about it being like a negative space. I was so used to people seeing me as like six pack, shredded. And so I didn't grow properly for like 3 years. I just stayed lean all year round and didn't really go anywhere. And it wasn't a problem, but I didn't realize it until I like looked back and I was like, that's why I'm a hard gainer, because I'm not trying to gain. I'm not eating to gain. So I did my first ever bulk last year and it was only like a mini bulk, but I put on like 7 kilos in 8 weeks because I just started eating a lot of food and just training differently. And yeah, it's all trial and error.
Yeah. I think that's something for guys that are listening as well, is that when you're when you are trying to put on size, like we're not all blessed with being able to eat whatever and, you know, and still look good or still get to where we want to be.
I mean, you are, but the rest of them.
Yeah, I try to be good most of the time. Macca's has been creeping
3
in
donuts.
lately. I didn't talk about my bloody donut addiction, all right?
If you're bulking, so I've said this like every time we do a workshop, I tell this and people just look at me like I'm the devil. When I was bulking, I was eating a tub of Ben & Jerry's every night, a full tub every night. That's like 1,100, 1,200 calories in like a pint. Every single night I was having a tub of Ben & Jerry's. And I never got over, I think, 13% body fat. Because I was so lean to start with. My body just was like, we'll use this, great. Like muscle mass went up, strength went up. It just skyrocketed. I probably didn't maintain for long enough afterwards because I did lose a bit of it. But because my body was just like, oh, calories, thank you, we're going to use these, like this is great.
And it's also in like direct correlation with how much you're training as well. Like everyone's different, of course, but you know that might not work for someone else.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the best diet in the world is the one that like you stick to. So if you're sticking to one and really enjoying it, great, do it. Doesn't mean if it's going to work for someone else. What works for me is definitely not going to work for other people because I have the luxury of this being my job. I can train twice a day, 6 days a week if I want to, which I kind of do most of the time just because I'm like, well, I can go film another session. Like, that'd be sick. So
I get to see your face twice a day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm only here to see you, really.
I know. I get it every time he walks in. Hello, handsome. I'm like, man, come on.
It's only when you've got a girl around. If it's a guy, I'm not worried about it.
How did you make the transition? You still might be there, but from looking at your social media, from the fashion side to the fitness, and what made you do that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was with an agency in New York like modeling talent agency type thing. I used to get a lot of work out of there. And at the time, I was still like 75% fashion, bit of fitness. And they were like, you got to lose the fitness. Like, you're not getting as much work as you should because you need to be one or the other. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not here to make money. I started social media out of fun. I've grown a brand out of fun. I'm not just going to cut out part of it because it's going to make me more money. So when it came to, like you're saying, actually getting rid of the fashion a bit more, I still do fashion. It's just I'm so busy with Milestone and training and the fitness side of things. I don't wear not activewear that often. Like, I have to actively take off activewear, put on another outfit, think to go take photos and do that. It's time consuming. So it's not that I don't do it. It's just I don't do it as much because I don't have the time.
And not maybe a priority?
Oh, it's nowhere near a priority anymore. I've lost interest in fashion a bit, particularly because I don't fit the stuff. Like, I'm not the tallest dude in the world. And I'm pretty big, so like I can't wear skinny jeans. I look ridiculous. So like things that are like were brands. I used to work with Top Man all the time. I don't fit Top Man pants. I can't wear any of their stuff anymore. My thighs don't fit in them. So that's just kind of ruled out that. So my style's definitely changed, but it's also just like enthusiasm towards fashion. I still love shoes. I still have a stupid amount of shoes because I'm like, well, I can still wear them training. So great.
And sunglasses.
Oh yeah, I love sunglasses. Because you can always...
Full rack at home. How many do you reckon you have on there?
The rack holds something like 80.
I have one $8 pair, for anyone wondering.
I think I'm going to start my own sunglass brand.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I've got a friend that I'm going to do it with. Okay, you guys are witnesses. I'm going to make my own sunglasses.
2020?
Watch this space. Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'll definitely start it. I'll probably start it in the next 2 weeks. I'm also someone that's like, if I say I'll do a thing, I just start doing it. I'm not a person to wait. Like, and I think that's been like 90% of my success has been just like, fuck it, I'll just do it.
I love
if it
that.
fails, it fails.
It's because I feel like you're so confident in yourself.
Oh, I fake half of that. Genuinely fake half of that, yeah. I definitely come across a long way to a lot of people because I fake far more confidence I have. I've been very lucky now that I've been doing it long enough. Like we talked earlier today about like bloopers and outtakes, like struggling to talk to a camera. I can talk to a camera straight away now because I've been doing it for so long. When first I held a camera in front of me, I was so awkward and I didn't know what to say and I'd screw things up. But I was like, well, I've got to do it because my job. People expect it of me. The first time I ever did like a proper TV spot, I did a thing for MTV. They're like, have you done this before? I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'd never done that before. They were like, yeah, here's the lapel. I don't know what to do with this. I watched what the other person did and tucked up my shirt and was like, oh, great. Like, just, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, if you're going into everything hesitant and unsure, people are less likely to give you opportunities. Whereas if you're like, yes, I can do that.
So how do you overcome that then? Because, I mean, there'd be some times where you'd be in a fairly daunting situation. Like if you're at a Gymshark.
Rocking up to a park where you don't know if people are going to turn up. And the second meet and greet I did was by myself in a park in New York. I think it was the second time I was there. I was there in summer and I came back maybe 2 months later for Fashion Week. And I was like, oh, I'll do a meet and greet. People want to come. So I just like went and hung out in a park, sitting on a bench by myself. It's like, I'll be here at this time if anyone wants to come. And then people started trickling in. All of a sudden, there's like 30 people there. And I was like, cool. Now I need to like learn how to talk to strangers because I've never done this before. But I learned from it.
So is it throwing yourself in the deep end more so and just like you said, learning from being thrown in the deep end?
Jump off and learn how to fly later on. Yeah, partly. And also like, I'm never going to do a thing I'm like completely incapable of. I'm not an idiot. I can talk to someone. Like, it's just a conversation. It's just taking away the stigma of being like,
I'm better than you.
100%. Yeah, because I'm not. And I'm very aware that I'm not better than people. Like, we've got like people who follow me that are insanely amazing humans. We've got people that are like working with NASA, developing fucking rocket ships. And they're like, we got people that are curing cancer. We've got these amazing humans. And I'm like, yeah, well, I take photos and videos on the internet. I'm not better than them. But there's that stigma because they probably feel the same way looking around. Like, so it's just like everyone's on the same platform. It's fine.
So like just day-to-day stuff, do you like lack confidence or you're a reasonably confident person?
No, I'm extroverted. So I'm pretty confident. I'm also like up for anything. I think I said it's who cares? Like, who cares? But again, that comes with practice. When I first started posting stuff on social media, like we come from the Central Coast where you guys are blessed. Social media has come so far in the past 3 to 5 years. 5 years ago, when you post a selfie, I'd have people talking shit about me at the pub. Like, and I know friends that like had to defend me because their friends be talking shit about me. Like, see that fucking Nathan, like, who the fuck do you think he is? Like, look, he's taking a photo of his moustache. Fucking, now who's laughing? Like, but you have to learn how to deal with that and have to be like, well, does it affect me? Does it change who I am? Am I confident enough in myself to do this?
At the time, did that stuff get you down?
Yeah.
Did it prevent you from wanting to put out content that you enjoyed putting out?
No, because at that stage, like, everyone saw everything I did on social media. Instagram wasn't choosing what to show people. So I'd post and 30,000 people would see that thing and would support. And like, we're looking, Layne and I were talking about this a while ago, looking back through old posts and seeing like, I had a year and a half period, 2-year period where my likes literally just halved because people just stopped seeing my shit. And I was like, remember back in that day when I could post a thing and everyone would see it? I could say follow Milestone and 2,000 people would follow Milestone. Now I say follow Milestone. I've got 500,000 followers and maybe 60 people follow. Again, they're probably following it, but it just doesn't happen the same way it was. So I guess I had the internet's validation behind me to make up for the lack of real life validation I was getting.
But how did you do that within yourself? Because you still have to have a level of commitment to be able to post it. And how did you actually find the confidence to go, you know what, I'm going to ignore what everyone on the outside is going to do. I'm going to follow what I'm passionate about. How did you overcome that within yourself?
Change friendship circles. In that period, I probably learned who my real friends were. And I've been very, very blessed to have a lot of friends across a lot of different circles of friends. And so I've just kind of like had the beauty of being able to pick and choose who I hung out with. And I've got a few people that are very consistent there. One friend in particular who I won't name, but like his circle of friends and me couldn't be different people. But he's like had my back in everything. And some people like, some of my friends now don't like him that much, but he's always supported me through everything I've done. And we are completely different people. Since day dot, he'll message me like, oh man, I love that thing you posted here. Like, I'm like, this is a guy that's on a trade site with, I know the dudes that are talking shit about me. But then he'll always be like, nah, he's like, you're on your smoker right now. He's in like New Zealand jumping off cliffs. Like, who's the fucking real winner? Like, he's always had my back there. And that's learning over time who your friends are and learning to support them back and make the time for the people that make time for you. In the end, it all comes out in your favor. Like, he actually told me on that thing that one of those guys who I know well messaged him and was like, oh, you say Nathan shit? Like, dude's in fucking good shape, eh? And this is a guy that 5 years ago was like, who the fuck that Nathan think he is? But over time, he's now like, oh.
Over time, because I guess their own insecurities end up.
That's exactly.
I've had that too, and I'm sure we all have. It's like people will, you know, for going out, stepping outside of your comfort zone. And you talked about that tall poppy syndrome, but it's like people are only saying that. What's the quote? You'll never be judged by someone that's doing more than you. Will always be someone that's doing less than you.
Have you ever seen a hater doing better than you?
Yeah.
That's one I posted a couple of years ago because I was going through a period where I was like, I didn't have any internet hate for the longest time, which was, don't know what happened. It was just amazing. Everyone was just like, yeah, great, keep it up. And then all of a sudden, a few like little troll people got in, and particularly when we first started doing sponsored stuff for Milestone, we'd post videos and like it'd be me talking to camera and just like comments below, people being like, oh, that dude like fucking shaves his stomach. I don't grow much hair on my stomach, and in videos it doesn't show up. So people are like, that guy fucking shaves his stomach. What a dickhead. And honestly, like that took me. I was like, fuck. It took everything in me to be like, I have hair on my stomach. Like fucking
send a photo.
Yeah, yeah. But actually, like, who cares? But I did. I definitely cared because it got to me because I wasn't used to dealing with that for a long time. So that's when I was like, they're all just haters.
How did you overcome it then?
Yeah.
Having Layne, having people that.
So, and I guess that comes back to our friendship circle.
Yeah. Learning how to look and be like, there's 3 comments there, and that post I just did got 400 comments, and all of them were nice. Why am I paying attention to those 3? Like, the good always outweighs the bad. It's just where you choose to focus.
So how did you go changing friendship groups or removing people from your life that weren't benefiting you? Was that a hard process? Because when in hindsight, I've done the same thing and I look back and I'm like, so happy that I did it, right? But at the time, it's hard. It's hard. You feel like you're going to miss out on a friendship, but it's not really a friendship if they're like that towards you, right?
Yeah. As I said, I was very lucky to have other friends to just like instantly turn to. So I didn't have all my friends and then nothing. I had other people I could turn to. Being open with people as well. Expressing like, rather than just like cutting someone out, voicing how you feel to them. It can be a shitty conversation, but I'm a pretty confrontational person anyway. So if someone's doing shit, I'll be like, well, I'm going to tell you how I feel about this. turn to other people and saying how you feel about those people. Hey, this person saying this, am I wrong for feeling this, or do you agree? It does take a level of self-awareness and the ability to like look at yourself truly as you are. But
I think that's a big one, is actually confronting is a strong word, but just bringing it up with your friend, right? If so, or with whoever it is that's, you know, maybe shitting on you a bit, or like giving it to you for doing something against the grain.
if you're at a point where you think you might lose them anyway, what have you got to lose? All you're going to get is like closure, which is a great thing to have, because then you know there's a reason why that person isn't in your life anymore. Or they turn around and it fixes, and either way, it's kind of win-win. So
it's quite incredible to see from the process of leaving school, and you get older and older and older. You know, gone from a friendship circle of 20 to like really like you'll hang out with 2 or 3 people like who really on your contact list that, to be honest with you, you just want to go and have a drink with, or you know you have a good conversation with them, or you just want to be around them.
Or the new people that come into your life, or how Layne came back into your life. Like you guys were mates in school. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Layne grew up a lot we weren't close in school. We were friends, but Layne grew up a lot a couple of years after school. He definitely had his period, and he'll admit this himself. I'm not just like ragging on him, but he had a period where he, like, after traveling, and he kind of found himself and knew what his passion was and knew what he wanted to be. Because I had a lot of people that would like talk shit about him, being like, "Oh, Layne's a bit of a dick, isn't he?" Like, which those same people probably say the same thing about me. But you learn to not just like, "Oh, that person's a bad person, I don't hang out with them anymore." Take them at face value and what you get. And I went to Gosford, so I went to a selective school where my friends were from all over the coast. So for the first like couple of years out of school, I didn't see anyone. Like my closest friends, I had maybe 2 people that were in my group at school, and then one that we weren't even that close at school. We became really good friends after school because we realized that, we actually did have something in common. It wasn't just we went to the same school together. So I'd had a different experience of that than most people, because like people who go to a local high school, they generally live in the same area, you see the same people, so you see everyone outside of school anyway. As soon as school was over, I didn't have that connection to people. So I had to go and find new friends or make that effort. I didn't go to uni, so I didn't have that either. So
everyone talks about when you're in year 12, like, I just can't wait to get off the coast. I'm like, man, now I'm 23, I'm like, man, I couldn't live anywhere else. I absolutely love it. It's just remove yourself from the situations, focus on your life. Don't have anything. Obviously, there's always going to be people that comment, but if you stick in your lane, it's actually an incredible place to live. We've got the best cafes.
I'm 31. I've traveled the world. I spend half the time away from the coast, and I'm so excited to come home. It's the best. Like, in terms of geographical, we don't have anything that we like. There's nothing we don't have here. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. I can't speak very well. Yeah, everything on the coast is there that we kind of need. It depends on like the relationships and the friendships you build here, but in terms of what the coast offers, it's incredible. If you look and think the coast is the problem, it's probably you that's the problem.
Yeah, definitely. What's your relationship like with Layne? Like, how has Layne benefited you?
He's my best friend. He's like, I'd be so tough to deal with, honestly, because like I said, I'm energetic all the time, and he's a moody bitch. So when we're traveling,
the realest person in the world.
Yeah. Layne's the same as me. What you see is what you get, but you don't always want what you get with him. Like, particularly when we're traveling, but he's incredible that we do balance each other out. He is the hardest working, most driven person. Milestone is a success because of him. He puts in so much work into our clients, into doing all the shit that I don't do. And I know there is so much that I don't do for our business, because like just Layne will do it. Like when it comes to like web support and talking to people that need to do that, I'm absolutely like an entrepreneurial person. I'll be like, Layne, I had an idea. Let's do this. And he'll be like, okay, he'll do it. I'll just make it happen. And we're very, very lucky that he recognizes my skill set. I very much recognize his skill set, and we work well because of that. But then there's also the times where we can also like have a training session together and not talk about work once. We talk about like the latest Nike shoe that came out and there's technology. And when we started the Milestone podcast, it's because he and I have such good conversations. We're like, we should record these. And it's become a thing that we do for work. But half the time we did one on movies last week, because I was like, I just wanted to talk about movies. I was like, do you want to do one on this? He's like, sure. So we sat down and talked about movies for half an hour because it was like, that's what we wanted to do.
What about from on a deeper level, like someone that has your back, or like having that connection with someone? I know, for example, with Bridgie and Cooney, we can talk about pretty much anything and everything, and actually feel really comfortable around that person. What's Layne like in that essence for you?
It's the same thing. Like, he probably hears more of the negatives of my job than anyone else does, because he sort of experiences them and he can understand them a little bit. He runs the social for Milestone, so I'll do most of the content creation, but he's the one that actually is on there replying to DMs and doing that. So he does see the shitty negative things, and he's the first to say, he's like, I couldn't do what you do. Like, I can't do it. I can't be that person to put myself out there. And he's like, I don't know how you deal with that sometimes. And it's nice knowing that he not only understands, but also appreciates that. And I've had conversations with my friends about this sometimes, because I can come across as incredibly confident. My friends kind of forget that I'm actually not as confident I am sometimes, but he'll also, I think he's aware of that, and will give me compliments where I need them, and will build me up when I probably need it, without overdoing it, without giving me a big head. Because it would be so easy to get a big head. Like, I've got so many people that are just like, you're the best. I'm like, well, thanks. Yeah, 100%. And over time now, I've like, the internet validation really means nothing to me. Not to say I don't appreciate it, but like, it doesn't make me feel better about myself. Seeing the amount of likes it gets to something, I don't ever think of it like a personal thing. I'm also like, oh, like, why didn't that show more people that? Because I know that people like if they see it. I'm not worried about what people think. It's more worried about what Instagram's going to show them. So it's more like those real validation things. And from him, when he like say to me, he's like, oh, you're like, man, you look sick in that photo. That video you did looks rad. Or that means so much more to me, which is cool.
So where do you get your self-fulfillment from? Because you live a lifestyle and your career is based around providing content and being recognised through the social platforms. How do you gain your own self gratification? How do you compliment yourself? Like, they talked about the internal being the biggest thing. How do you do that for you?
Like having like intrinsic motivation, or?
Yeah, but even having pure happiness within yourself and not you letting the externals be the driving force behind your fulfillment.
Happiness for me, like if I have a good gym session by myself, and I trained yesterday at lunchtime by myself, headphones on, and I was so fucking happy. It was sick. I listened to some new music and I had a really good session. And I was like, oh, like that was fucking great. I'm so happy right now. Went off and like had the endorphins pumping. Went and watched Friends with my girlfriend. That was cool. Had a good dinner. It's the little things in life. And have you ever seen the movie Zombieland? Oh, fuck. It's sick. I watched Zombieland. It's Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson, Emma Stone, and Abigail. I don't know her last name. It's a zombie horror comedy. Anyway, the whole purpose is like nerdy dude that's like inhabits a world where zombies have taken over. But he has these like rules of like that he still lives by. And like rule number 6, like wear a seatbelt. Rule number this, like double tap, so shoot him twice. Whatever it is. Rule 32 is enjoy the little things. I saw that movie like however long it came out in the movies, and I was like, rule 32, the little things. Like that stuck with me so much. Rule 32, enjoy the little things. And that's where I get happiness. Sitting at the back of my house and looking at the ocean, going for a swim, watching the sunrise, going for a run, just spending time. Like, I've got 2 super cute nieces, about to have a 3rd one next week. Spending time with them is cool. Just spend time with my friends, watching movies. Music is such a big thing to me that like I get so much joy sharing music as well as just like sitting and listening to it.
What's the playlist name?
Well, I've got my big ones, Angry Music for Happy People.
Angry music for happy people.
Yeah, I didn't make that title up. I can't claim that. That's a t-shirt that August Burns Red, one of my favorite metal bands. They had that on their t-shirt. And early days, I just named it that because they were the first song on the playlist. And now people know it. So I kind of like, I won't change it. But I can't take credit for it. I didn't make that up. But it's exactly me. Like, I listen to heavy metal because it's so passionate and like energetic. And it makes me feel something. And that's why I like it. I totally get why people don't like it. But for me, it's angry music for happy people. So
I think that's probably my biggest key takeaway from this podcast so far is enjoying the little things. We can become so driven on becoming where the being is the most important thing, like the moment. Like, this is all we have right now. Dinner's going to come, it's going to come, but this is all we have. And I feel like as humans, we're so driven on having to be that or comparing ourselves to this or it's great to look forward to a holiday, but are you sacrificing the moment that you have now? And I actually believe that self-fulfillment comes from enjoying the being.
Have you seen Taylor Swift's new documentary on Netflix?
I've heard it's really good, but
I fucking love Taylor Swift. I love heavy metal. I love Taylor Swift.
Such a contrast.
Yeah, I know.
Such a contrast.
It's sick. It's actually so good. So Taylor Swift is my homegirl. I genuinely love Taylor Swift. I've got a story about that, but we'll get to it. But the new thing, it's exactly that. She was saying she won her second Grammy. And then as she's walking up to the stage, she's like, well, I did it. But like that's everything I was focused on now was just winning this Grammy. Where's my happiness come from now? And then her learning how to find happiness in her life around that, which is exactly what you're saying. It's learning how to appreciate all the other things you've got, not just focus on that one goal. And then what? Yeah. It's like being able to enjoy that. Fucking Taylor Swift.
You've just dropped it. Yeah, you've just dropped this little something.
We're talking about like social media and cool things that happen. So I got a DM like maybe a year ago from a guy and it had a blue tick. So I was like, it stands out, the verification thing. So I saw that and he was like, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to get a session or whatever. Like, love your work. Looked your scene. He had like 600,000 followers. I was like, oh, fuck, who is this guy? Looked at him and he was Taylor Swift's like lead backup dancer. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, why not? I'll go meet up with him. And I saw we had a few friends in common in like the gay scene in LA. So I was like, oh, sure, I'll go train with him. Really, really lovely dude. Got on super well. And he's like, you going to the show? I was like, oh, like I wouldn't buy tickets to Taylor Swift. I like her, but I wouldn't really buy tickets. And he's like, oh, I'll get you tickets. Come. So I took Walt, my old photographer. Me and Walt went down to Taylor Swift and met up with him. And he'd given us these amazing seats, like 100 meters from the stage. Great spot. He came and met us before the show. And he's like, are these seats okay? And I was like, dude, this is incredible. Thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. And he's like, oh, I'll be back in like 5 minutes. You guys happy to wait? I was like, yeah, sure. He came back 5 minutes later with wristbands. He's like, oh, I got you better spots. Come with me. So we're walking through the crowd. And on the way down the crowd, people are stopping us heaps to take photos with him. And I was like, oh, like, people know who this guy is. He's obviously like, kept going. And he goes to spot like right next to the stage. And this incredible spot. And he's like, oh, this is like the VIP spot. But just like, don't tell him I gave the wristbands. It's fine. You guys happy? And we're like, the stage is there. Like, yeah, we're happy. This is fucking incredible. Thank you. Anyway, people are stopping to take photos with him. And then a few people took photos with both of us. I don't know how they knew who I was. Anyway, took photos and he's like, have fun. It's going to be amazing. I'll come back just before the first support comes on. First support comes on. He's like, quick, come with me. Takes us in and you're Taylor Swift and I was here and we were in the VIP of the VIP. Tickets like $4,000 for this section. It was called the Snake Pit because whatever. And we were in the spot and I was like, have you seen like Wayne's World? Like, I'm not worthy. Yeah. That was us. We're like, we shouldn't be in this spot. And
I could picture you chanting it.
Actually. And it was the best. The show was incredible. It was so amazing. I could like see him like winking at me on stage when he's doing his choreography and stuff. It was awesome. And that made me like her so much more because she was incredible. So
have you found like you would have formed awesome relationships through your reach that you have?
Yeah,
like you tight with people from, like different parts of the world that you really treasure their friendships with?
Yeah, hell yeah. And there's people there that I've got like, I went to Elton John with Elton John's husband last week. I got to sit with Elton John's husband and watch just because he followed me on Instagram. Like, hey, I'm going to be in Sydney if you want to get a coffee. So I met up with him and he's a super, super cool guy. And so we got on well. And then me and Corp went and had dinner with him and he took us to go see Elton and his final show in Sydney. And we like sat with them and like, what the fuck is my life? How is this what I'm doing right now? From fitness, from like working out and showing people how to get abs. Now, like I get to do opportunities like that. And I've been front row for fashion shows in New York that I shouldn't be there. It's like the editor of Vogue and this, and then some guy that follows me was like, hey, just come sit with me, be fine. So I'm just like sitting front row of something that I didn't have a ticket to start with. Just like, cool. There's Ice Cube and I'm sitting here. What's going on right now? Yeah, ridiculous stuff.
It's wild, man. So I love how grounded you stay though. Because you are, from the first time I met you, and I knew before, you signed with like Gymshark, again, like you said before, massive brand that a lot of people are familiar with now. But you've stayed centered and you've stayed grounded, and it's like massive credit to you, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate that.
Well, it's really good to be able to see these things we spoke about with Andrew Papp as well, because he's someone we believe that's very authentic.
Yeah, for sure. Papp's a legend.
Because social media can be a very damaging place because, like we talked about, people can compare themselves to people, but it's really cool to see people being authentic and the message that they're showing is actually who they are as individuals as well. Yeah. So huge credit to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Man, I love, we were talking about confidence before. If you could go back to sort of maybe your 16, 17-year-old self, any advice that you would give yourself at that time, knowing everything that you've taken on now and that you know now?
Trust the process. Say yes to things. I truly believe everything that happens for a reason. and we learn from it. So there's nothing I would take back. There's nothing I would change. So I would just say to enjoy the process and like trust it's taking you somewhere. When I was 18, I had like true fear that I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And I was just going to like, how am I ever going to afford anything? How I was going to get a job? Like I finished school, was going to be a primary school teacher because that's what my dad was. And I got into the course and then started doing visual merchandising because that just offer came to me. And I've made my career about saying yes to things. People are like, can you do this? Yes. Yes, I can. Want to try this? Yes, I do want to try that. So I'm very lucky now I can be more selective, and I have definitely said no to things like Married at First Sight and Love Island and all those things. Yeah, bro. Fuck that. I've said no to all those ones. The Bachelor. So there's definitely things I've been able to like learn over time what a priority is for me, but saying yes to opportunities. I would say to everyone, say yes more. Have you seen Yes Man? Yes. That's a great movie. It is a great movie. I know there's like, it is funny and there's like kind of taking the piss, but the premise of that, saying yes to opportunities will give you opportunities. It opens up more doors. Life is so much better when you like positive and agree to do things. So
say yes and enjoy the little things.
Fuck yeah. That's sick. I like that. That's a little wrap up right there.
I think so, man. Again, appreciate your time so much. I know you're a super busy dude. Where can our listeners find you?
At Nathan on Instagram. And then the link to my bio for everything else.
Just straight Nathan. Just Nathan.
Actually, Nathan. I shouldn't say just Nathan because someone has been like, I keep typing just Nathan. I can't find you. Oh, yeah. It's at Nathan. At Nathan is me.
Awesome,
Everything else is in there.
Dude, appreciate it so much.
Thanks,
Thank
boys.
you.